Hello and welcome back to another episode of Reach Your Happy with Laura. So, friends, I've been going through it. I am involved in this beta testing program. That goes into the physical body and accesses sometimes long forgotten emotional pain and trauma. So that's what I did Monday. And for the past couple days, I have been going through it. And by going through it, I mean clearing, crying, processing, deeply realizing things I never realized before. Because trauma happens in so many different ways. And one of the things that traumatized me was something that happened after losing my mom. And for me, a majority of my focus has been about having a sick mom and dealing with that and the fear and the pain involved in this inner knowing that I had that I wasn't going to have her for very long, and also dealing with these feelings of abandonment that my mother had to leave so soon. So through this healing, I've realized so much. And the most important thing that I've realized, if you take anything from anything I ever say, please remember this: that at the core of who we are is unconditional love. And when we are not loving, when we are not loving ourselves, and I don't mean like, I like everything about me, but no, like the essence of you, right? Like, you can be a hot mess and your partner or your best friend is gonna love you, right? Because they know who you are beyond your external appearance. So when we are feeling unworthy, incapable, overwhelmed, it's simply an indication that you are not viewing yourself in the light of truth. Because at the core of every being is unconditional love. I believe that. I believe that the seed that is the soul, that is what fills this physical body, which it takes up space in this world, that core is unconditional love and goodness and worthiness and wholeness. The thing that keeps us from really seeing that is our own beliefs, and we make up beliefs all the time. Like, I had this talk with my niece. She's 4 years old, and her sister endured a really traumatic attack from he's not our dog anymore, our old dog. And this young one, because she couldn't quite understand, she wasn't there, she was like 2.5-ish years old when it happened. We had a conversation and she was telling me how she's just waiting for that to happen to her. Oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. Of course she thinks that. Well, she gets her sister's hand-me-downs. What happens to my sister that happens to me? My sister goes to first grade there, then I'm gonna go to first grade there. We create these beliefs starting so damn young. And that belief that my niece had, I say had because we did some work. We worked through that. I explained in all the different ways that I could about why that's not going to happen to her and where that dog now exists. And so she has never wanted to sleep over here because that's how it happened. And after that conversation, the next day, I FaceTimed her and she's like, "Auntie, I'm ready to sleep over." I was like, wow, look how quick that shifted. It was a day. And she shifted from, I can never sleep over because I'm going to get attacked by a dog, to, I'm ready. Because I had a belief that wasn't serving me, that was keeping me from the truth. And now that I was helped through that belief and shown why that wasn't accurate, I can now go forward and pursue my life of happiness and joy and spending time with Auntie and Brad alone, because she's the youngest, and the other two have had time with us, but she hasn't because of what happened. So our beliefs shape our reality. Another thing that shapes our reality is our physical body, is the family we grew up in, are the parents about their beliefs. All of this is information we take in as children, teens, young adults, and we shape our reality with these beliefs. So the healing that I do for myself and others is about accessing what is underneath. Like I talk about Reiki, it's like peeling back layers, because I'm accessing what is underneath that layer that's blocking you from the light, blocking you from the truth. And when we have beliefs that are in the dark, in the shadows, we don't get to shift it. So if you're in a place that you really don't like, if you're experiencing pain and you're just not feeling okay, understand that that's okay. It is part of our human experience to not be all that pleased with where we are, desiring to be in another place. And that when you're ready to realize, to peel back a belief that doesn't serve you, the opportunity will arise. I didn't realize what an effect the way that my life changed after losing my mom. It was just my dad and I at home, and then him moving on to his now wife. I didn't realize the impact that that had on me. Of course, in the thick of it, it was like, oh, this is weird, this is kind of hard, okay. But I didn't realize the extent to which that 16-year-old brain, I mean, it's undeveloped, right? And so the beliefs that I created from that period of time were that I was unlovable, that my mom left me, that I feel very alone. I feel like no one, like, how can people understand me? I just felt really isolated. And so that belief of just not feeling all that seen carried me through up until this point where I received so much love from people, but I only let so much in. I am the first to say I love you because I love so much, but to receive it back feels a bit hard for me. I see the way my nieces and my nephews look at me and I'm like, you don't know the whole picture. If you knew, you wouldn't feel this way about me. And so the way that feels so awful, I know that there is a belief that's hindering me, but I didn't know it. I knew it on some level, but I didn't have access to the belief until I experienced a healing where these memories started to flood back in. And a part of me wanted to just block it out and tuck it away again. But another part of me said, no, this is how we heal. We heal by exposing our pain to light. That's how infections are healed, right? When we keep it in the dark and we stuff it down, nothing heals in the dark. Things heal when we bring it out to the sun, to the light. And that's what Reiki is. It's shining a light on the places that have gone dark within you so that you can heal and transform that energy that maybe you feel not enough. You feel like you're worthless, or unless you're reaching this certain status that you're not good enough, or right, there's a million things. By shining a light on that period in my life where I was grieving my mom, I was confused about life in general going forward. It was like, you're 16, there's boys and hormones in school, and just navigating life without being a caretaker of my mom with my dad. It was like just life flip-flopped. And I made a lot of assumptions about how people felt about me. I have a decent sized family, and I did not feel the support that I wanted. I didn't ask for it. I didn't say I needed help. I pretended to be really strong. I guess a part of me was really strong, but another part of me craved for someone to say, "Are you okay?" So through this healing over the past couple days, I've come to realize that it wasn't that I was unworthy and that people weren't thinking of me and people weren't realizing the pain that I was in. It was instead what I'm choosing to believe now, because I've believed that, like, oh, I just didn't matter all that much. So people just said, oh, she's fine, whatever. Ellen, my mom, is really who we cared about. These are some beliefs that I created that I truly, this was not conscious, it was unconscious. It was deep, deep down. And that belief has kept me from allowing love in, allowing myself to deeply appreciate me and who I am and the beautiful people that I've called into my life, from clients to friends to family to my to-be husband. Because deep down, I had this feeling that I was somehow not good enough, not worthy enough, not lovable enough to receive the love and attention that I so badly needed when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, right? And so to recognize that pain, I brought it out into the light. And when I brought it to the light and started to look at it a little differently, I started to talk to Brad, my fiance, about it. And then we started to kind of open it up. I kept talking like, that doesn't make sense. I know my family loves me. I know that. I knew that. But what was this feeling? What I needed was support. In the form of emotional support. I needed somebody to talk to. I needed a safe space to just be a hot mess, because that's how I felt inside. What I portrayed to the world was this message of strength, and I was stoic, and I was capable, and I was just going to keep on moving on. And so now, as my 32-year-old self, I can look at that situation and say, oh, people weren't all up in my grill asking, are you okay? What do you need? You probably need therapy. Not because they didn't care, not because they couldn't conceptualize the pain that I was in, but perhaps the people around me thought, she's got this. Look at what she's navigated. Look at how she's carrying herself. She's still playing basketball. She's still having friends over. She's still living her life, being a teenager, being a little brat in the morning when she's grouchy, right? Like she's continuing to exist. So how much help could she really need? And now when I look at it like that, I'm like, right. I really did exude this level of confidence in that I got it and I'm okay. And I got my dad, I got my dog, I got my siblings. I've got this family here for me, but I'm really okay. That is the energy that I exuded. So how the heck was I ever going to get someone to call me up and say, are you all right? Nobody's a mind reader. Even psychics, even intuitives, okay? We have so many layers of walls and protection and armor. Even if I didn't want someone to see my weakness, so people did not see it. Maybe some did here and there. If you knew me at the time, let me know. But for the most part, I played the I'm strong, I got this role really well. And that's what I needed to do to survive. So now at 32, I can look back at that younger version of myself, acknowledge that pain, acknowledge, that was so rough, but you made it through. We made it. We're okay. We did it. But let's address those beliefs that don't serve you, like you are unlovable. My mom didn't die because I was not lovable enough. That's just not what it was. And I understand that, but at 16 or 12 or 7, whatever age while she was sick, I couldn't quite understand why this was happening. Why did I have to deal with this? Why did other people who are like really not nice people not have to deal with this? At 32, I go, oh, it's a soul thing. It's a soul path. We have contracts with each other. I came here to learn the things that I learned, to be the person that I am, not just for myself, but every person that I work with, every person I communicate with. So I'm acting as if like, oh, it's so simple. Just bring up your beliefs and address them. And if it doesn't make sense, if that doesn't align, then that belief is probably false and we can shift it. It's not that simple, but we can take steps towards witnessing our beliefs. And we can witness our beliefs and how true they really are based on the way that it feels when you think it. When I think the thought, I'm unlovable, right? Like stab in my stomach pain. Why? Because that is so far from the truth that it is causing a physical, painful sensation in my gut. It's like, wrong, you know? Alarm bells are going off in the form of pain. If you're doing an exercise, and I point over because this is my exercise mat, and you're doing something and it's causing immense pain, your body's going, right? It's saying, please, 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 hold, lighten up, take a step back. I'm not about avoiding pain, but the body is communicating to us. But I didn't know that. Right? At 16, you know, all the years leading up into this moment in time, but now I do. And so now I owe it to my younger self to acknowledge the pain that she experienced and show that younger self where I am now and how things really do turn out to be A-okay. That life takes its twists and turns and we just can't possibly know how it's going to unfold. But we can know that I am worthy, that I am love, I am unconditional love. And a dear friend, angel, client of mine gifted me this, that I was talking about my mom with her, and she said, you know, I don't remember her exact words, but I'll just communicate it for how it landed for me. She said, you unconditionally loved your mom in all her changing states, from her diagnosis to losing all her hair to the closer towards the end of her physical experience where she wasn't able to communicate as well. She was not the same person that she once was. But I loved her all the way through. And my mom felt that. She knew that. She witnessed this little girl watching her through this very turbulent experience. Just love, just love, just love, just love. I just love her in all her forms, in all her states. I never hated her. I was never wishing that she was a different mom. I loved her all the way through. And that's what we do as children. That's the gift of children, that they just love, because that's who we are. And we forget that. We grow to a certain age and we forget. But we can recall, we can remember. You know, even if your parent, your mother was so freaking terrible to you, beyond your pain, deep, deep down, all that remains is love. And this client gifted me that realization, like, you did love her enough. Because all this time, again, she died, life changed, just total flip-flop. It was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world. Holy moly. And a part of me believed I didn't love her good enough. And I wish I had shown her more. I wish I could have explained in more clear terms how much I loved her. But that didn't need to be said, even though I said it 1,000 times a day. That was communicated in the way that I viewed her. I just unconditionally loved my mom. And so when she died, it felt like I didn't quite do enough. And so this belief kind of settled into my mind that I didn't do enough loving of her. Why that came to be, whatever. What does it matter? But when I bring that to the light and I expose it to the light and I go, I didn't love her enough. Ooh, sharp pain, stab in my belly again. Okay. I'm contradicting myself. That's why I feel pain. I'm contradicting the truth of who I am. I did love her enough. I loved her unconditionally. I loved her in the fullest way I ever possibly could. That literally makes my heart want to just burst with joy. That's how I know the difference between a belief that is in line with who I am versus a belief that contradicts who I am. So notice the beliefs you have. Notice. Just notice. And I hope my story of pain and transmutation and healing helps you somehow. I deeply appreciate you. I love you. I thank you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.